Have you ever set up a beautiful afternoon for your children and then experienced it completely falling apart? And I don't just mean the kind of afternoon that goes a bit sideways. I mean, you were there, you were trying, you were present, and somehow it still ended with everyone upset, leaving you standing in the kitchen thinking, what just happened? That's the kind of parenting challenge that's hardest to make sense of. It's easy to understand the meltdown that comes after a long day when everyone's tired, or the one that happens because your 5-year-old is hungry or your toddler missed their nap. But what about the ones that come when everything seemed to be going right? That's what I want to talk about today. So just imagine a mum with her 5-year-old daughter and toddler on a specific afternoon with a new box of modelling clay. The parcel had come in the morning. She had found a good hour later in the day. And if you know what finding a good hour actually takes, you'll know that's not nothing. The washing machine was on, dinner was prepped, the school trip was confirmed. She'd done the admin of the day. And now there was a proper hour ahead, all three of them together. She put the brightly coloured box on the table and her 5-year-old grabbed it excitedly. Her toddler was delighted too. And while her eldest started struggling to open one of the packets, this mum just quietly opened a few and slid them over to within easy reach. And then there was this lovely moment where they were both completely absorbed in the colours, the textures, both quiet and deeply focused. And as she looked at them, something softened inside. And then she picked up the box, noticing all the pictures on the side, all the amazing things you could make, and pointed them out to her eldest child, who glanced up, not really bothered, and went back to what she was doing. So this mum made a little animal herself, rolled it into a head and a body, giving it legs, making it hop over and say hello in a silly voice. And she smiled when her daughter giggled. Then she made a bunny, and her eldest loved it and grabbed it to make the animals play together. And that was the moment she felt the warmth of her ideas going the way she hoped it would. Then she turned to her toddler, made him a little dog, and he started woofing away. And then when she turned back, her eldest had squashed her animals into a pile and was poking and cutting them up. And without really thinking, this mum reached over, oh no, honey, don't do that. And then out of nowhere, or it felt like nowhere, everything fell apart. There was crying, clay being banged on the table, the works. So what happened there? Because this mum was doing everything right. She was present, she was engaged, she was creative and fun, and she made an excellent bunny, and it still fell apart. It would be easy to think she did something wrong, especially in that last moment, that the no, honey, caused the problem. But I don't think the no was where it started. Let's explore what was actually happening. When a child is absorbed in play, like really absorbed, that quiet, focused, in their own world kind of play, they're not just passing time. They're busy working. That's a child's version of work. Their mind is doing something really important. A 5-year-old pressing different colours of clay together is finding out what happens when they mix, what this material does under her hands, what it looks like to cut it and layer it and squash it flat. There's a direction to that exploration, even if you can't see it from the outside. She knew where she was going with it, even if she couldn't have told you. Then, from her point of view, something else arrived. It wasn't bad, it wasn't unwelcome, it was just different, a different direction. Her mum's idea of play, an animal, a story, something to do together. And she did go with it for a bit. She liked the bunny, she liked the energy of the moment. And then when she could, she went back to what she'd been doing. Not because the animals were bad or that she didn't want her mum there, but because she had something going. She was exploring and she hadn't finished yet. When no, don't do that arrived, she was halfway back into her own process, which was now being stopped completely. A 5-year-old doesn't have the words for that if she did, it might sound something like, I was in the middle of finding something out and I needed to get back to it, and now I can't. Can you let me finish? But obviously, a 5-year-old can't use language like that or ideas like that. All she had was the clay and the table, and that's what she used. There's a question worth considering when this kind of meltdown happens, which is, whose need was most active in that moment? The mum wanted connection, quality time together, making memories. She wanted to be part of what her daughter was making and to share delight in something new. And that's a real and completely understandable need. But that particular way of being together wasn't something her daughter was aiming for. The 5-year-old wasn't pushing her mum away or rejecting the relationship. She was protecting something she was in the middle of. What she couldn't ask, because she was 5, was, can I explore this and still have you nearby? Can I be absorbed in my own thing and just know you're next to me? It's not, I don't want you. It's more like, no, not like that right now. And I want to think about that for a second, because I think a lot of people watching this might recognize that feeling. Maybe not as a parent, but how about when you were a child? Did you ever have that experience when you were in the middle of working something out and someone came alongside you, someone you loved, someone who meant well, and they had an idea? It might have even been a great idea, but it just wasn't yours. And it was taking you in a different direction to what you were thinking. Something in you may have wanted to say, well, hang on a minute, I've got this. I was almost there with my own thing. Can I just have a minute? And that frustration is real. It's not wanting the person to go away. It's about not wanting your own process interrupted. And children often feel this before they've got any way of naming it. There's something I find myself noticing in stories like this one, which is the difference between being present with a child and joining in with a child. They look similar from the outside, but they feel different from the inside. Now, neither one is better than the other. They're just different. So let's look at that. Being present isn't interrupting anything. It's simply being there, watching, observing, interested in what they are making of whatever it is they're exploring. And you might say, oh, those colors are mixing. Oh, you're squishing it now. You're following what they're doing, not introducing something new. And joining in comparison brings your ideas into their space. And that can be a really lovely thing. It can. There are moments when a child is open to you joining with them, and those are some of the best moments going. But the invitation isn't always open. And sometimes we join in because we want to be part of what they're doing more than their need for us in their play. And I'm not saying don't ever join in. Our children need and enjoy learning from our different insights many times. But when we're faced with a screaming meltdown that seemed to come out of nowhere, it can be helpful to recognize the tension that was existing between their need for exploration and our need for connection. And when a meltdown does come, well, sometimes the most connecting thing you can do is just stay close and say very little. Just, I can see what you were doing there. I'm still interested. You can show me if you like. If this kind of sudden meltdown feels familiar to you, I'm exploring this all week on my social accounts. The posts this week go a little bit further into what was happening in this afternoon of modelling clay play. And I'll be offering a question on Friday I think is worth asking. If this is the first time you've come across my work, I talk about parenting from the angle of understanding what's actually happening between a parent and a child, more than trying to manage specific behaviours, because I think that changes quite a lot. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.